Well, it's here, and it's pretty darn good. The Nintendo Switch 2. Welcome to Week 3, Geek Cave Podcast. I'm Darrin.
And I'm Chad.
And, oh no, okay. So just so you know what just happened, I pre-ordered my Switch 2 at Walmart, and it came with goodies. It seems the people who pre-ordered the Switch 2 with Walmart would get a random can of Pringles and a Coke with it. And the can of Pringles that we got is based on First We Feast Presents Hot Ones, specifically the Los Caliente flavor. And I've read reviews on how people started sweating after eating these. How you doing, Chad?
It's got some spice to it.
So that's the thing that's going to be happening, because we both have had some hands-on time. We also, a couple of the kids involved with the show, Red and Geek Cave Kiddo, have both had hands-on time with this new piece of hardware as well. And obviously, by the time you're hearing this, you might have had some hands-on time, because although we are recording this the day after the launch of the Switch 2, this is the Week 3 podcast, so you'll hear it a couple weeks from then. So hopefully nothing disastrous happens. I can tell you right out the gate that it's a really nice piece of tech.
It feels good to hold.
Yeah, it feels good to hold. There goes Chad's throat as he continues to eat the hot one. So one of the things that here internally we were talking about in regards to the Switch 2 is that it basically feels like what the Switch Pro would have been if the Switch Pro had ever actually been real. Mm-hmm. Because, there's not a whole lot of change in the form factor. It's bigger. There's not a whole lot of change. The kickstand is nice. The kickstand is a lot better.
So much better.
The Joy-Cons attach so much easier with the magnetic pull to them. They just kind of snap into place. And the triggers to release them are really nice too. It feels... the screen's LCD. It's not OLED. I know a lot of people lost their shit over it. But if you actually look at games playing on this, it looks really, really nice. It's a really nice screen.
I'm really not bothered by the lack of OLED, especially on the small screen. Yes, you get some better blacks, you get a little better contrast ratio, but it looks so good, and you're playing so close to it that it doesn't really matter, and you're not gaining that much battery back from it. Right.
Yeah, the battery life for the Switch 2 is very similar to Switch 1, very similar to Steam Deck even, anywhere from 2.5 to 6 hours, depending on how what you're playing, how long in increments that you're playing, that kind of thing. I will say that Switch 1 always felt a little bit small to me, kind of like a toy, whereas this feels like something... with the Switch 1, I love the system, I love the library, but 95% of the time I'm playing that connected to my TV. I can see myself playing this in handheld fairly often.
We use our Switch a lot more in handheld mode because it's the travel console.
Right.
Clearly you're not bringing your PlayStation 5 and plugging that into a TV in the car.
No.
But as such, I like the brightness of this new screen. I don't know if there was significant changes, but it looks very vivid.
It does, yeah.
And I think that the bezel along the edges is smaller, so it gives you the illusion, at least, of a much bigger screen.
Yeah. Now, a couple things of note. The Switch 2 comes with this very thin adhesive film on the screen. Do not try to remove that. That is something Nintendo puts on at the factory. It's basically to prevent your screen from shattering, or if it does break, it prevents glass from getting everywhere. So that is kind of like by design. You can still buy a screen protector if you want to. It's one of those things where if you look at it real careful near the bezels, you can see, okay, there's a film there. Don't try to take it off. It will damage the screen, and you will be unhappy about it. Otherwise, the dock is a little bit bigger. The dock has a built-in fan, which if you play the Switch 2 for any amount of time and then you pick it up in handheld mode, or if you play it for an extended amount of time in handheld mode, it gets hot. So does the Steam Deck, but it gets very, very warm, which is something to kind of take into consideration. Like if you decide to get like a Nerf case or something that's a bigger, bulkier case, that is something to kind of play into, the heat transfer thing.
Well, and it seems to be acknowledging that because there's also a bigger vent on it.
Yeah.
But kind of what was happening with the other Switch, is it was also getting very hot to the point where wasn't there a problem that some of those were like warping?
Yes.
In like third party docks or something.
Third party docks, they would start warping a little bit. Yeah, especially with extended play.
So bravo for thinking how to fix this.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that really the Switch 2 is a response to most of the problems people had with the Switch 1 at launch. One major negative is that we still have like the joysticks that are standard. Mm-hmm. I know that a lot of people wanted Hall effect joysticks because it eliminates the possibility of stick drift, which is not just a Nintendo exclusive problem. I have it in one of my launch PS5 controllers now.
We have it in one of our PS3 controllers.
Yeah.
And PS4.
Yeah, so it's a thing that just exists. Apparently, it has something to do with because they're already using magnets to clamp it to the system. Mm-hmm. Hall effect joysticks also use magnets, and from what I've heard, it was causing some interference when they went down that road. Because it wouldn't have been much more from a cost perspective, as much as just this is something that we can do, this is something we cannot do. Tell me a little bit about, because I had you try out a few games.
Yeah, so about right away, the first thing I did, of course, was Mario Kart. Because Mario Kart is just one of those games where you expect right away Nintendo's going to get this right. Mario Kart's been around since, I don't know if it was in the original Nintendo, but it was pretty much around from SNES on.
Yeah.
And has always been, to me, their flagship, their flagship racer.
Everyone can play this.
Everyone can play this. And you had me start out just in the free roam area.
Which is fun.
The entire map is available.
Yeah.
And you can unlock things. You can try things out. Figure out the controls in a zero-risk environment. That was so much fun for me. I would probably, and I mean this with some degree of appreciation, I may never play the game in favor of just driving around in free mode.
Yeah.
And trying to find whatever collectibles or whatever secrets and Easter eggs that I could, just because I'm not a huge fan of the kart racing genre, but that is fun.
Yeah.
And the world is so fleshed out, and it's beautiful, and it's it's smooth. God, it's just buttery smooth. The controls just work. I expect that. Good job, Nintendo. Met expectations.
Yeah.
But also the environments change.
Yes.
I did a lot of my free roam stuff just in like cheaps, falls or whatever it's called.
It is, yeah.
But when you zoom out the map and you see all the different types of environments, it's like, okay, you want to do mountains and snow. You want to do lava, fiery, Bowser type, thing. All of that stuff is there, and it's really neat to play through.
It does feel like a world, if you will.
It does. It feels like the most natural way of exploring the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, yeah. Now, there are several modes to Mario Kart World. People with far more reach than me have already talked about it, but I will say that I tested it out with Geek Cave Kiddo. We played a little bit of Knockout Tour, which is you are racing from one end of the map to the other, and it's 4 tracks, just like in a normal Mario Kart race, except you have to finish above a certain standpoint at each checkpoint, where and the maps connect. You are driving from one track to another as part of this giant race. And if you finish below 20th, you're out. You finish below 16th, you're out. Until eventually you got to finish in the top 3. And that adds a whole extra layer. I've been playing Mario Kart since the Super Nintendo. And a lot of times, the biggest challenge for me is either playing with people online, which I don't like doing.
I don't like people enough to play online.
Or just, creating difficulty for myself once I've played it enough. But Knockout mode has just that extra little bit of flavor, and you can play it entirely offline. So, it adds a little bit of tension, like, oh, man, am I going to make it kind of thing. So I really appreciated that. And
Now, does this allow 4-player couch mode?
it does. 4-player split screen.
That's amazing.
It also has, the new game chat feature where you can basically Zoom call each other on your Switch too, and you can see what everyone else is playing. And if you want to play online that way, you get kind of like the split screen experience because everyone's at the bottom of the screen, whether they have a camera or not. At least their icon is there. But yes, 4-player couch co-op is just like any other Nintendo system here. For Mario Kart World.
So what I'm hearing you say is that we can take this to our projector that's 120 inches, and we can play. Everybody would have their full-size TV size window.
Well, and here's another cool feature. This is something that I didn't talk with you about before the taping. There's a feature called Game Share, which is on the Switch 2 menu. And Mario Kart World does support this, where you can play in handheld mode with up to 8 people and only 1 game card.
Say what?
Yeah, like you've got a Switch 2, you've got Mario Kart World installed, for example. You can go to Game Share, have 6 or 7 other friends with you. They are also playing on your game card.
Yeah. To assume.
Yeah, but they're also playing on your game card at the same time.
Okay.
Using just near-field communication. That is a fantastic idea.
Wait, so we're in the same room.
You were in the same room.
You
We're
and
all
I-
playing on handheld.
And we all play on handheld.
But your Switch 1 is able to play the same game that my Switch 2 is playing. I am sharing the game with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not online.
Not online, localized.
But localized.
Yeah.
That's neat.
That is neat. I think you have to be on the same Wi-Fi, but you don't need an online membership for that. So
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
And for the cost of only $4,000, you too can have enough of these for you and 7 friends.
Yeah, but yeah, it's neat that they allow certain games for it to work on the Switch 1 as well, which is a really cool thing. Let's see what else. We tested out the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I did Breath of the Wild anyway. Tested out both of those in the Switch 2 editions, and no frame rate drops. It looks amazing.
Looks incredible and surprisingly sounds really good.
Yeah, I mean the speakers on the Switch 2 are not bad.
They're not. That's kind of, I was turning it up and playing with the sound just because they're still itsy bitsy.
Yeah,
But they gave a full range of sound. Nothing that I played gave me an indication of any kind of stereo, like the sound wasn't moving from one side to the other.
right.
But at the same time, if you're playing in handheld mode, it's pretty much everything's right in front of you. If you want stereo, attach some headphones, which you said I can do with Bluetooth.
It will support Bluetooth headphones.
So there you go.
Now, it won't support more than one Bluetooth accessory at a time, so if you want to use a Bluetooth controller and Bluetooth headphones, you're going to have to pick.
Okay.
But I don't... And at the time of this taping, no one has figured it out yet, but I'm sure someone will. Because Xbox controllers can work in Bluetooth mode, and they have a headphone port. So I'm sure someone has already figured it out by the time you're hearing this.
Right.
Or PS5 controllers are the same way. They have a Bluetooth mode, too. So we'll see how that goes. The problem I have with the Switch 2 is that the launch lineup, other than a couple dozen ports, is Mario Kart World, a couple of indie titles, and that's it.
And GameCube.
And the GameCube games. That's right. If you're a Switch
which
Online
I realize
member.
that those are ports.
Yeah.
But it's also, hey, here's
It's
things.
neat to have.
Which I'm going to say they picked 3 good games, but they picked 3 wrong editions of the game.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that. I mean, F-Zero, that's like the latest version of F-Zero. They haven't.
2003 is the
they
latest
haven't,
F-Zero.
They haven't done another one since then.
22 years they haven't given you another
It's well rested.
super...
Yeah.
No wonder it was so fast.
Yeah.
It's been training.
You also get Soul Calibur 2, and you get... Now, this is all... If you're a Switch Online expansion pack member, you also get Wind Waker, Zelda Wind Waker, but it's the original GameCube version.
And it feels like it.
Yeah, it looks great, but like the quality of life improvements from the Wii U version are not there, and they're nowhere to be seen. I hope that maybe we'll get a Switch 2 version of those games. Like that one and Twilight Princess, those are the reasons I'm holding on to my Wii U right now.
Good reasons.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, it is early. By the time y'all are hearing this, the Switch 2 has been out about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of potential there.
I mean, so long as you didn't buy it at a GameCube in...
By a GameStop in New Jersey.
Yeah, GameStop in New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those who might have missed that, everyone had different experiences with the Switch 2 pre-orders. Walmart sent us snacks, specifically Pringles and Coke.
Yep, they are good.
The hot ones are? Yeah.
You know, I think that they should coat the game game cartridges with this stuff rather than that denatonium benzoate.
Yep, that's still what they're using, by the way.
This is still going to prevent children from eating it.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Not me, but
Switch 2 cards are still bitter as heck, so you'll be happy to know that.
There's the voice of experience.
Yes. Anyway, but that was the Walmart experience. Target, people who pre-ordered it got emails telling them, hey, it's not shipping until June 11th. Launch was June 5th. So they had to wait a week before it even shipped. That's not a good look. And then there's GameStop, as Chad mentioned, where certain GameStops on the East Coast decided that the best course of action, instead of printing out and handing out receipts with each person's pre-order or taping them to the box, I guess they didn't want to damage the art on the box. Okay, fair enough. They stapled them to the box. Now,
that still damages the art.
Yeah, and the way the Switch 2 is packaged, part of the blame is on Nintendo because it's a really small box. In fact, I'll go get it, Rick.
So, while he goes and gets the box, I will say that also just the splash screen, the home screen of this, is really clean and really, really well defined as well.
Yeah, so like the box is smaller than the Switch 1 box, and when you open it up, you can see it's just very thin cardboard. And there's where the Switch...
Oh, right there on top.
...console is placed, and it's screen side up. So you can see where the problem is. Yeah, that cardboard is like less than a centimeter thick. And
so that's to me, that's somebody at GameStop making a choice.
Someone at GameStop made a choice.
Because that means that nobody opened one of these boxes.
Nobody opened the boxes.
To see where things was.
And they stapled the receipts to the front of the box, and they pierced the screens of, at the time of this recording, a little over 300.
And it's a $500?
This is the Mario Kart World Edition, I think, is like $550 or something, so $499, something like that.
So 300 times...
That's a lot of money.
400.
That's a lot of money. We're talking, what, $12,000?
$12,000 worth of oopsie.
Oopsie, indeed. So hopefully that they got those squared away. I hadn't heard from GameStop by the time we recorded, but again, we're recording less than 24 hours after I got mine set up. But I hope that GameStop does the right thing by them, because that is, yes, it is a packaging problem for Nintendo because they packaged it in really thin cardboard with the screen facing up. But at the end of the day, that's the only place that decided to staple something to the box.
Yeah. Nintendo may very well have packaged this in a way that it was vulnerable. But they also did not package it with staples through the top of it.
No, that seems to be a thing they did not do.
So,
yeah. One thing I should add, because this was a problem I had setting up the system. Because I got the Mario Kart World bundle, and I knew that it was going to be a digital. It was just already. I thought it would already be installed on the system. That's on me. There's no game code in the box. In order to claim it, you have to, I think, go into your Nintendo account settings, scroll down to, I think, System, and they've got instructions on how to find it. But I didn't find the instructions till after I did. But it's kind of hidden in a menu where then you can tell it, all right, I want to download the software that is assigned to the system, and then you can download Mario Kart World. It was just one of those things I wasn't expecting it, because I've never bought a Nintendo system with a digital download attached. It's always been either physical or just base model, and then I've had a game to go with it. But that was really my only complaint, was that it took me a while to figure out where the heck is my game, Did they forget to include it? I thought it'd be a code on a piece of paper, that kind of thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, I really like what the Switch 2 does. I know that some people are like, well, it doesn't do enough, or it's basically just like a Switch but prettier. That's kind of what you should expect out of the, it's kind of like the PS5. PS5 is just a PS4 but prettier for the most part. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, this was exactly what I expected. This is exactly what I paid for. And based on the hands-on experience that I've had, I think I got my money worth.
I think you got your money's worth on it.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be a limited for now.
Yeah.
Whether or not somebody gets it. Because, again, with basically the 2 games or 3 games, not very many games.
Not very many games launch worthy, yeah.
It's like you can
wait.
I think I would wait 6 months.
I would agree with that. You could probably wait.
This, to me, is probably a holiday purchase.
I could see that.
Or right around a holiday purchase. Like, if I found myself going shopping on a Black Friday, I might try to
snag one, yeah.
Try to snag one.
I bet that would be, because, right there's
the your instructions for Mario. It is in 0.6 font.
It's really tiny.
Size font. But, yeah, it's right on the inside panel.
But I didn't look at that. I just went to setting it up.
Of course you didn't.
Yeah.
You're a man.
So, all right, well, that's, I guess our early verdict on the Switch 2 is, I don't know, what would you give it out of 10? I would give it maybe an 8.
I'm going to give it an 8.3.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be doing exactly what we ask it to do, which is the Switch and then some.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm not giving it a higher score is because other than Mario Kart World, there's not a whole lot.
Well, and at 24 hours worth of time with it, I mean, what have you really got available to? Also, the seamlessness with which the controllers attach and detach from the base unit.
That's pretty fun.
That go from controller to mouse and back to controller.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about that. That's pretty cool.
Super fast, super fluid, and and watching you kind of move the mouse around, it even looks like the mouse is responsive. It's not just there to be another thing.
Right. Yeah, I didn't use it on a table. I used my pant leg.
And it looked like it was going exactly where you said it should go.
Yeah.
Very neat. So, yeah, that's the extra 0.3 for me is that their controllers, this is a definite step up from the controllers of the Switch in how they connect. I don't think we're going to see near as many disconnects.
Yeah, hopefully.
Which is what was happening with the Switch 1, at least in our family, because when you're in handheld mode all the time and you're in the car and you're holding it from the side,
those rails,
every bump and it jostles that rail. So it's a really good looking and good feeling system. I look forward to the next full podcast where we get to talk about it after having nearly a month with it to say, okay, and we still only have the one game.
But we'll have a full review of Mario Kart World by then.
Yeah, and I look forward to hearing it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, everyone, for listening in. Of course, you can find all of our podcasts and our links to our socials and all that stuff at geektubepodcast.com. If you found us on Apple, give us a 5-star review. And if you found us on Spotify, subscribe.
And say something nice.
Please say something nice.
Yeah, even if you have to make it up.
Because, I mean, I'm fragile. I need positive reaffirmations.
All of us have egos that need to be fed.
Just a little bit.
I mean, mine is really starting to curl up in the corner and weep.
Please feed Chad's ego. With every play, Chad's ego gets the nourishment that it needs.
Feed.
So
me.
You can also find us on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Discord. And, hey, check us out next week. We got another Watch What on the way. I don't know what you guys are watching. And don't tell me because I want it to be a surprise.
Fair.
Yeah. So, Chad, thanks a lot for stopping by. And thank you for listening. Remember, everyone is a geek for something.